Veins on Vince. Tell me what.
Say Fede, what's up? What's up, guys? All of those greetings. Hope you're going to Lumnati. Vince SP, Vince on Visuals. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe. Press the subscription button and also press the bell icon so that you can get notified on the next videos that we'll be doing. Peace. God bless you. And we have leadership in studio. Mr. Herman Mashaba, sir. Hamaskral born serial. You know there's plus minus 12 types of entrepreneurs. And there's this one that is a serial entrepreneurship. You know, serial. Oh, deep. And we have him in studio. Mr. Mashaba, say,
Dumela and Vincent and the colleagues, and good morning to the listeners on Moretele Radio.
It's been a while.
Oh, it's been a while. No, in fact, Vincent, I was here, I think about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I came for People's, I run a program called People's Dialogue.
Yes.
And I came to engage people of Timber, I think about 6 weeks ago, if I'm not wrong. And I was invited by the radio station afterwards. And I was in the radio station for about 15-20 minutes.
Nice.
And we were not there, so I was surprised. Where's Vincent? Because the last time I had engagements with you,
yes, I think we were doing midweek radio by then, when you came by.
That's right. So, but I'm glad I'm here. I was really so excited during the week when I received an invitation from you, and my dad was open. I said, what a great opportunity to go and talk to people about Manskral. These are my roots.
Yes. Ramotsi,
Majaning, Temba, that's work, I completed my matric Ratepo High School just behind the police station. I was there for 5 years, from Form 1 up to Form 5. From 1974.
Form 1 to Form 5.
Just here, you can imagine, I started traveling from Ramotsi, Kitla School more than fortunate enough, 1974, 75, my brother-in-law and my sister bought a stand to go Mangele. Then I lived with them, good in housing, I want a 2-room this thing, and then traveled to this thing and to school until I completed my matric in 1978. So I mean,
so you did your matric in 1978?
Yeah, no, because I'm sure all of you are not there. Everyone.
I was not even there. Mr. Mashaba, paint me a picture of a better South Africa.
A better South Africa, it's a country which all of us, including myself, on the 27th of April 1994, we voted for, and I'm one of those that voted for Mandela, looking at the advancement of black people to be part of the economy, be part of the country. Because, and the reason why I'm raising this matter, because now I thought the new democracy was going to bring about an explosion of black talent, because we used to have black talent in this country during the dark days of apartheid. At the time, we used to really hate Mangope, really sure he was a terrible man. And today, I visit my family, Ramutz or Majaning or Temba, and I see the evil that's really happening, where the new government, the new South Africa has actually robbed our youth of their future. The type of education that is provided to them is not the type of education that is going to prepare them to really face this competitive world, the world where they can be independent of government. So I think for me, I'm really extremely disappointed by the outcome of the new South Africa. And what makes me angry about it is because it's not something that really happened because of mismanagement. It's because it was deliberate, because the current government wants to see black people poor and dependent on government and make them not to have the right type of education so that they can be free from government. So I think it's these are issues really of major concern, and I hope our people, particularly parents, can wake up to this reality so that we don't deprive and rob our youth of the great future. Our children, our youth are facing the drugs, the kind of drugs. There's a drug called Nyaupe that is destroying our families on a daily basis. Our women are being raped. Our people are being murdered. Unemployment, you know, Vincent, when I grew up, that Beleg industrial area, in Amanskral, you know, people when I grew up, people who did not work in our communities were those who did not want to work. Anyone who wanted to work, Nahakehola, worked.
Yeah.
As much as yes, people were being exploited, were not paid to what obviously they deserve. But you know what? Because I was brought up in a child-headed household with my sisters, my mother being a domestic worker in Johannesburg. My sisters worked. Two of them worked in Babelech. Another one was training as a nursing sister, go Paraguay Hospital in Soweto. You know, there was peace in most of the families because our parents worked. End of the month, with the little that they earned, they could provide us.
Would you say they were not?
So that is why we could respect them. Today, I mean, if I look at unemployment, if you are aware, in South Africa at the moment, we've got what 10.4 million. Almost 40 million of South Africans are unemployed. Yeah. We've got all these borders that are opened. This government has decided to open the borders to South Africa for all the criminals from all over the world. Anyone who's a criminal to really come here. Not that everyone who comes to South Africa is a criminal.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we've got a sizable number of people who are coming here in South Africa to come and commit crime. And we've got a government that's not doing anything about it.
But then how do we fix going forward?
Well, firstly, we need to really have a government that is going to be accountable to the people, not to be accountable to themselves and their stomachs. Because unfortunately, the current political leadership are there for themselves and for political parties and their stomachs. Nothing to do with service to society. When someone goes into public service, you go into public service to serve the people. Secondly, I think we need drastic measures to change our education system so that it's focused on making sure that our youth are trained to really be able to really compete in the work market, be able to be doctors, engineers, and business people, or policemen and women, whatever they want to really be. We want black child one day to really be a proud race, you know, so that because we are not going to represent a black race by being dependent on social grants and so forth. You cannot really be a pride person because social grants, they take away your dignity as a person. You can imagine as a child going to school every day, there's no food at home. The only food that you get is at school. You know what that does to you as a child? You don't have to really get psychologists to tell us it takes away your self-esteem and your self-worth because, you know, you grow up knowing, you know, I'm nothing. Whereas if you had parents who could provide for you, give you that nourishment, give you that support, so that we start building your self-esteem at the young age of your life.
Mr. Mashaba, then when you have young people, the youth hates politics. And I think 60% of South Africans are young people. How do we now start to, because politics affects everything. Politics, whether they are all politics, whether it's, you know, the air we breathe now with, you know, coronavirus is coming. It's politics in terms of the state of readiness of our country. And they don't want to hear anything about politics. How do we start to make politics to be fashionable to young people? Can we do that?
To Vincent, it is precisely what I've just expressed. Hore. Our current government, they are on an agenda to ensure that the black youth distance themselves away from politics so that they can be controlled. They give them drugs, give them alcohol, don't give them education, because once you don't give one the education, destroy their self-esteem, destroy their families, and then you can do what you want with such a nation. And unfortunately, for as long as our people don't participate in politics, because politics is not like actually being directly involved in politics. It's about making sure that every time when voting comes, go out and vote these people out. Because for you not to go out and vote, you know what happened, the tragedy of our country? The last elections we had in May last year, you know, just under 19 million of our people did not vote. Only 17 million people voted. ANC was voted by just under 10 million. So you can imagine this 19 million people. If 25% of them had gone out to vote, today ANC will be out of government. That obviously the ANC, the only way they're going to remain in power is to ensure that black people remain poor, they remain ignorant, they have no self-esteem, they make sure that drugs are easily available to them, because the more these international drug syndicates they can bring drugs into the country, they become cheaper and accessible to more of our youth, and that's how you destroy the nation. And then what happens by destroying this youth? Then you destroy their societies, because what happens when these youth who are drug dealers, drug users, not even dealers, drug users. What they do, they steal from the families, they cause the families are broken. That's only one thing that will keep the ANC in power. That's why I'm sure you remember what a few years ago Jacob Zuma made it clear that the ANC does not like clever blacks. So it is up to you and I, all of us, to actually wake up, to understand that our success as a nation, as a race, as a black race, is going to depend on being clever.
Let me take you back to a book that you once had a chapter on. There's a book it's called South Africa's Greatest Entrepreneurs by Moki Makura. And most of the guys that you shared that book with, I think, you know, the likes of Kugos Becker, you know, the guy who founded your Sports Today, Multi-Choice. You know, there was also Brozin, you know, who started Nando's. There were also Brian Joffe, you know, the guy who started Bidvest. What was the influence of you know, for you to succeed back then? You know, because I feel like there's those who can succeed out of politics, and those who can, you know, those who want politics to help them. Back then, do you think young people were following this government tenders and, you know, all of these things that government are doing for people, or back then, but I want to succeed all by myself?
Look, Vincent, when I started my business career at the age of 22,
yes,
living at the time in Komajane, I bought myself a car. Actually, before buying a car, I decided to stabilize my life. I got married, legally married on the 3rd of March 1982. That's when I got married. Actually, in 3 days' time, I'll be celebrating 38 years of my marriage. 38
years
of my marriage to my wife.
Papa, like 38 days.
I'll be married 38. You know, yes. What I did just really give you that journey, because I decided to, you know what, because PW Bot and the National Party, that evil system of apartheid, wanted to determine my destiny, and I said, not a chance. I'm in charge. I was born a free human being. I decided I'm going to go into business. But then you remember those days as black people were not allowed to go into business. In the Sansandro Tswara, this police station here, but train a police, the Ronama to a manskralin, but test Tagarona, so that once about qualify Babaisa all over the country. So all the time as a black man or woman to go to jail was almost impossible because you Pasa how he had to register. And I decided, to hell with the system. I'm going to go into business. I got married 2 months later. I bought a car. And 2 months later, I resigned. I bought a car in Namajanin, bought Toyota Corolla, go car by motors in Lodium. In fact, my sister at the time was working at Jubilee Hospital. Before I got to Majaning, brand new car. Those days, as a black person, to buy a brand new car was unheard of.
Serious. Bought
a brand new car. Before Kivita go Majaning at home, my first reverse. No, because Vincent, I bought a car to drive in my life.
Serious?
Yeah. I bought a brand new car. I had no license. I only had a learners because I was obviously planning and saving to buy a car. So, with my wife, I didn't. Honestly, she doesn't believe me that I didn't go to car buy to go and buy the car. I was preparing myself. But then when I got to car buy, I had a 3,000 rands deposit. West Bank was there. They approved. And this is the car is here, you can take it. I said, my goodness. And it was, I'd never driven before. Can you imagine, once ago, drive from Lodium to Hammer's. Wow, my wife wanted to tell those people, Moto can't drive, please don't tell them.
So this is claro,
this is claro. Reverse, my first reverse. Lucky
Hey, boss.
But yeah, so then 2 months later I resigned and I started my business career as a door-to-door salesman.
Okay.
Selling different types of products until in 1983 I came across a company in Johannesburg selling hair care products. They had a brand called Supercare. I sold for them for 19 months, and during that 19 months, that's when I said, no ways, I'm not going to make these products for this white man. Black women and men, Babato pay me, I'm going to pay them myself.
What about pay?
What
about pay?
Yeah, and they rewarded me.
Started with black like me?
Yeah, no. And they rewarded me. I started Harankua, managed to get the funding from Walter Dube and Uncle Ned from Harankua. They gave us 30,000 rands to start Black Like Me. We had to repay them back in 3 years. I paid them back in 7 months.
Serious?
Wow. I paid them back in 7 months. By 1989, I had my own factory next to that Central City.
Yeah.
I had almost a 10 million rands factory, state of the art. I didn't owe anyone a cent.
Serious? Wow.
And then, unfortunately, some evil forces on the 17th of November 1993, on the eve of our elections, bent it down completely. That time, 2 weeks later, I then bought a factory in Midrand. That's how I moved to Midrand. And then 1994 came. We voted for Mandela. We thought we are a free nation. And I thought and expected to see an explosion of black entrepreneurs, because I was born and grew up in a country where entrepreneurship in our communities, despite the fact that government was against us, our people were running businesses. I mean, here more timber, how to cut timber, the old timber. Arana butcher. I remember every day a break we used to go there. Habakuk Shikwan had a shopping center there. Muhasi family had business. They had business.
So we were selling to all these black people.
Today, oh my goodness, I go Tembo, go to Ramoto Majaning. Every second house, someone is opening a spaza shop, and it's someone who does not even have the papers. We don't know who they are. They don't employ our people. They're not registered. And I'm saying to myself, no, This is totally abnormal, and I'm really determined to really fight this, and that's why I'm forming a political party so that we can really clean up our borders, make sure that everyone who's in South Africa is in South Africa legally.
Herman Mashaba in studio. Run Josie, Run Pitor. Aye. You're coming back after the song. Let's take a break. And we'll also be taking your calls if you have any question or comment for Ntate Herman Mashaba. Ntate Mashaba, you have been traveling throughout the entire... Did you travel throughout the entire country or only in Gauteng?
Well, mainly in Gauteng, but obviously I've touched other areas.
Yeah.
I mean, one that people are aware of is when I went about a month ago to go and assist the people of Barberton at Lily Mine. Those are the people outside Gauteng that I've managed to engage. But I think I was really focusing on Gauteng.
So that's the target, basically.
Ekurhuleni, Tshwane, and Johannesburg, because these are really key areas that ANC is already under 50%. These three metros represent almost 30% of the country's GDP. So it's a very, very important
economic hub. That's the economic
hub. And there's just no way in the world I would really like to compete nationally next year, but it's not humanly possible. So I want to really focus on ensuring that we remove ANC from government in these three metros. That's really the agenda I'm focusing on. But at the same time, we will start putting structures to compete in 2024 at a national level. But for us to really be able to take ANC out of national government in 2024, we have to take them out of power in Ekurhuleni, Tshwane, and Johannesburg.
Okay. Issues saying South Africans are crying about when you travel throughout Gauteng. What are these issues?
Well,
Are they common across?
It's common across, and honestly, yes, fortunate enough, I've got empirical evidence, but I think these are things that I've been aware of. These are things that drove me to leave my businesses to say it is my turn to serve society. High unemployment of our youth. I mean, it's a big issue. I mean, our youth, the black youth, almost 60% of them are unemployed. Every time, like when I live here, I'm going to visit my families around Yenamaskwa. I look at the desperation of our kids, our youth. Some of them with university degrees, who cannot find employment because the economy is growing at under 1%. But at the same time, you have the population growth at
58 million.
Growing at 2.6%. So when you have an economy growing at less than 1%, but population growth at just over 2%. Inflation at almost 6%, with unemployment at almost 39%. And I think we've got to stop being fooled because we're not all of us stupid to that level where we are told unemployment in South Africa is 29%. Unemployment in South Africa is 39%. Because what happens is when government releases unemployment stats, they take the narrow definition of unemployment. Those who are still registering for being unemployed. We've got our youth who are in their mid-30s, early 40s, who have given up looking for work. We don't really count them. So I think what we need to do is let us be honest with one another. Unemployment in this country, it's 10.4 million, which equates to just under 40% unemployment. So that we must not actually hide the true picture. This whole issue of the drugs, where we are allowing the international drug syndicates to bring drugs that destroys our communities. Our women in this country, every time I see a woman, particularly black women, because they are the most vulnerable, I've always said to them, has she been raped before? Because chances of a black woman being raped in this country are so high. And no one is actually taking this as a crisis. I've indicated the educational failures. I mean, SATU, that's the Union of Teachers.
Yeah.
These guys, one day they'll have to answer to their children and their grandchildren. Where were they when they allowed COSATU and SATU to destroy the education of the black youth? Because I studied during the dark days of this country's history, Bantu education, which we hated. We abhorred that system. And I look at today, and the education that we used to get, because the education we used to get, there was law and order. Today, are you aware 80% of schools in the black communities are dysfunctional? That is why parents from here in Amanskral, bana ba santse ba tsoge ka for 3-4 in the morning, ba isiwa ko dikolong in town, because they don't have confidence in children. And 25 years into our democracy, and it's not because of the money. South Africa spends in terms of education. Our education spend compared to other countries in the world. So it's not the
So it's not about the money. The money is there.
The money is there. It is just that it is stolen. It is misused. Because this government wants to see the black youth being ignorant. And not the very same people who are politicians. That is why they can't even use Jubilee Hospital. They can't go to look at Jubilee Hospital. This is a hospital that used to save us. I grew up, when I was born, Jubilee Hospital it was there. My mother at one stage worked here in St. Peter's. Jubilee Hospital, used to be the hospital. It was not really the best because it was saving us black people.
Yeah.
But look at Jubilee Hospital before apartheid and look at Jubilee Hospital today. It's a shame under the current the system. So we've got to really look at ourselves and say, you know what? Is that colonialism? Is it apartheid? If things were better under apartheid, if Jubilee Hospital under Mangope was operating better than now, we can't then blame Lucas Mangope for that. Was Mangope's system good? No, it was not good for us. That's why we fought to ensure that we bring about change. But we did not really bring about change so that it must only benefit those who are politically connected. We fought and won this evil system of apartheid so that the life of a black child can really be better. But unfortunately, the life of a black child has gone way backward. Not backward, way backwards.
Okay, give us a call if you're having any question that you'd like to ask to Mr. Herman Mashaba. Please give us a call, 079-320-7895.
079-258-5942.
And also 060-733-9926. Question or comment that you might have for Mr. Herman Mashaba. The People's Dialogue, so it's coming to an end today.
Yes, it's interesting. I cannot believe it this morning when I woke up and I called my marketing people. I said, guys, are you aware today is the last day of the People's Dialogue? Because when we launched it on the 6th of December last year, we committed that it'll run until the end of February. And then between sometime middle to end of March, I will then release the report, which will become a public document. So today is the last day for people to give us their input. But Vincent and people of South Africa, I'm overwhelmed by the responses and the inputs we received from our people. It is for that reason already by January I could confirm to South Africa that I am going to be forming a political party.
So you're making it official right here?
Yeah, no, make it is official. I will be forming a political party. Actually, on Monday I'll be announcing the director of operations. It's really someone that I admire. I can't give you the details at this point in time. I'll issue an official announcement. I'm getting someone to start actually putting structures together to make sure that we are represented in all the wards and everything like that. Now that we're done now with the People's Dialogue, on the 19th of, can I also announce that on the 19th of March, will be presenting the final report, which is going to become a public document. Please, I'm asking you as the youth, read that document, because it's going to give you insights how millions of South Africans actually feel about the country. One thing that is actually encouraging for me and inspiring is the fact that majority of South Africans have still got hope. Yes, we're on the verge of collapse, but there's still hope. And we need to act, and we need to act as a matter of agency, because we cannot afford to get South Africa to go the Zimbabwean route.
So, will you be working with Musimaiman on the political party?
Well, I'm going to be working with anyone who wants to really work with us in shaping the future of this country, focusing on public service, because when we work as a political party, I've made it really very clear. I was running a campaign this week where we are committing to South Africans that the leadership of our political party is not going to be decided by us. It's going to be decided by you, the residents. Here in Amanskral, all your councillors that are going to represent in the city of Tshwane municipality, every ward, we're going to run our own primaries, our own elections before the main elections, for you people of Amanskral to decide who becomes your public representative.
So how will your structure of young people be? Will you be looking into creating a structure where you'd say 60-40, maybe young people?
No, I think we are going to really be targeting any South African who's conscious to understand that we need to really save this country. Whether you're a youth or you're an old person, I think we're going to really focus on all South Africans who qualify to vote.
Let's take a caller. MC Adumel. Okay, give us a call. 079-320-7895. Also 079-258-5942. And 060-733-9926. That was a question that I got from someone asking about, young people, or will you be, representing, young people into your party or not? MC Adume. Okay, Kupa Udime Radio, because of we are hearing some background. Yes.
Yes, Melikai. Mamelodi, okay.
So how can you check this?
Can I maybe take my please?
Elizabeth. Yes.
Elizabeth, let me tell you something, and I'm unapologetic about this.
Yeah, okay, do that now.
Let me respond to Liz, and I'm unapologetic about this. Obviously, next year when we compete, it's a local government elections. So Home Affairs falls under national government. But however, we're going to prepare ourselves to compete in 2024.
Yeah.
And if ever for some reason people of South Africa decide that we're the political party that must govern this country, we take over Home Affairs, I can assure people of South Africa, we will have special units within Home Affairs, within Defense, National Defense Force, and the police, where on a daily basis, Msebethi Wabona is to go out there and make sure that everyone who's in South Africa is in South Africa legally. Those who qualify to be in South Africa will give them papers. Those who don't qualify, we are not going to hesitate. we're going to send them out of there. We're going to send them back to their countries.
How
Those
was
who don't
Josie?
qualify.
I remember, like, when you were running Josie, you also had, the same ideology with regards to
Well,
foreigners.
because Home Affairs is not a competency of a local government. That's why I was frustrated. I even reported this matter to the Home Affairs portfolio. But unfortunately, because the portfolio is run by ANC, they were there to protect the minister. I went there to go and demonstrate to them how over the last 3 years of my administration I've been engaging Home Affairs, all the ministers, to say, please assist us as a city of Johannesburg so that we deal with this matter. Those foreigners who are in South Africa legally, please make sure that you give them papers. And those who don't qualify, as per our constitution, please send them back to their countries. But they were there to defend the minister.
Let's take a caller. Enter Dumel. Sure, Shabarinda. Yes. Rubalema. Oh,
Age,
Harry.
Oh, Harry.
Yes.
How are you, Mr. Mashaba?
Fine, how are you, Harry?
Fine, thank you. I wanted to ask you, with your political party, is it going to be democratic, or you are starting a party and already are you a leader of that party? And then if you are going to follow democratic processes of electing leadership, they don't elect you as the leader of the party. And another question, funding. It's not cheap to run a political party. So are you going to be transparent in terms of your funders? Are you also going to accept funding from people of questionable backgrounds? And another question, basing on your office era, how are you going to make sure that the people that are working for the party, they're going to be people of who are not corrupt? Like me. The condition is that over killing government as also mara on the room put away like a daily right. I'm worried, but it's a brother, you know.
No, I think that Mashaba, maybe I wonder I've always said so much over that evil system of apartheid. That system, I wonder you can really praise apartheid, but we need to obviously really be fair. Where I'm saying is, certain things which were correct. We went into school only law and order under apartheid. That evil system. It doesn't mean that they praise apartheid. Apartheid was an evil system. Yeah, no. Okay.
Yeah, the other thing, we're sitting away the radio has taken a side here. The presenter Harry will want to choose for it. The radio has taken a particular position, and not rather radio in the system, even neutral. And the neutral area, but it's fine. FMCR has decided.
No, Mr. Taj. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes, we can arrange that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Mashaba. Now, who talk about the political party, but my concern you already know, you cover mayor. How do you open a party and then Onyake will mayor? And that is not democratic, because democratically must be elected to be served. Yes, I know, we are not going to party. Onyake will mayor. But on the other end, for instance, the last job when I got Chania over mayor. So there's a contradiction, which I look at the little bit like
Yes.
So you talk to the agency about issue of home affairs, and then they delete that and even protected the minister. That's what he said. And then lastly, brother, let me give you a brotherly advice. There are 9 words on the government. For what it more high, more busy how I pay, but for all to me, it's auto fail, and then you want to go fail and go, Katumo, Sky, and I get more sleep, and then Roger get to any more than before. What's it before more than about? Didn't not candidate to put it to a yard.
I need Tash Mashaba next week in studio. Tash, I need you in studio next week. Yes. Yes. Okay, continue touch. Now we're not traveling on WhatsApp, you know.
No, sure.
Yes.
No, Mr. Mashaba, ki on a Moretele FM.
All right.
Thanks for resigning, man. We need people with that is progressive.
Thank you, Dr. Touch. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mashaba.
Yes.
Thank you.
That is Touch Mashaba.
Okay, Tate Mashaba, please. I think it's important that when you listen to the debate properly, I think you can imagine right now there's 3 issues that Tate Mashaba raised, which
Which is the mayor.
Yeah,
And also the Home Affairs
which I think he is misinterpreting what I said. The question, apartheid, which I apologize and I'm thankful about. I've always said from the day one, apartheid system was evil, and that's why we fought it. The question here, Leonardo Radio, you've already taken a stance aside. Now, I raised the issue. I've already made myself available. However, people of Joburg are the ones who are going to really decide whether I'm the right person or not. I mean, I don't know how one should really explain that. I said, I'm making myself available. However, people of Joburg are the ones who are going to finally decide who's going to be the mayoral candidate. Now, and I say, no, now I'm not democratic, so it's a contradiction. What is contradictory about what I've just said? So I think, Dade Mashaba, thank you so much for your input, but I think what the person is actually communicating. But we hope that one day we'll be having an opportunity to work with you to really make a better South Africa for the future of our children.
Because it's about that, right?
Absolutely.
It's about, I think let's take off the T-shirts and work.
Absolutely.
Because of when we are going to be all about T-shirts, I'm from this T-shirt and that one, we forget our mandate, but then at the end, they need services from the leadership. At the end, this leadership, or from which party or which one, at the end, this is what we call leadership, and we need services as as people of Hammanskraal or the country. We need we need services across, and these are basic services: clean water, electricity, safety, education. These are clean things that every citizen should be having. Right? I'm talking to Mr. Touch. Hey, next week, Madagamo studio. Next week, Touch. Next week, I need you in studio. Dade Mashaba, in wrapping it up, what do you want to say to the people?
Well, I'd really like to appeal to South Africans to really get involved in politics. And I think I want people to understand me properly, not to unnecessarily misinterpret. Getting involved in politics is not to be a public representative. It's about ensuring that anyone over the age of 18, if you are a voting age, please go out and vote. And vote for any political party. Because that is the only time you can hold the politicians accountable. But for you to stay away from home, you says that I don't not subscribe to any political party, then go and start your own, like I did. The reason why I took it is conscious decision to say, look, let me engage people of South Africa, and if Nalbonar Dumelana, I'm happy to start a political party, because I can tell you, Vincent, before conceiving this idea of starting a political party, honestly, after resigning from the DA, I had no political party to vote for. And but one thing for sure is that come 2021, I have to vote. And fortunate enough, I'm going to vote for my own, for this party that we're going to start. We'll announce the details by June. So wait, just watch the space. So at least I have a political home to vote for, and I don't accept anyone an option. In the meantime, the country is collapsing.
The country is collapsing. Yeah. Mr. Mashaba, all the best with regards to your political party.
Thank you.
And keep on engaging with us. Let it not be the last time because of there's this tendency already, we only see politicians once, when they are looking for votes from Moe. They are gone, sitting in their posh hotels, busy, with flies. Well, like a SAA. Conversation in SAA, it's not everyone who can have that conversation. We're not talking about SAA. We're talking about basic things. We're talking about clean water. Can I drink metsi apompona? That's what we're talking about, Mofat. What do you mean? What's our SAA? But can we have our service to be delivered now? Hopefully it's not the last time.
Absolutely. Just do like what you did during the week on Romela, the message to say, Mr. Mashaba, you are available, and obviously my diary permitting, I'll be here. This is my home town, and I'm really very sad every time I visit my family. No, in the middle of the night, and the following day, Sanse Reskolong, this na mates. The Renwa mates at this Apis River, And Kimo, 22 years into my democracy, when I visit my family in Koramoto, sometimes I mean, it's a really very sad state of affairs. And when I look at how this country has been looted by political leadership, it's crime. It's actually treacherous.
Yo, Mr. Mashaba, say thank you so much. Let's keep on engaging.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Dumelang, what's up? Vince has been here. Don't forget, guys, to subscribe to the channel. It's called VOV, Vince on Visuals. Subscribe, press the bell icon so that you can get notified on the next videos that we will be doing. Right? Peace.